after the Arab Spring, how Islamists hijacked the Middle East. John Bradley. John, first to the news of the day. You surprised Gaddafi forces would assert themselves after the revolution?
No, not at all. And in fact, it tells you just how Libya is hurtling towards civil war. That rebellion in that particular city is the least of the country's problems. Islamist militia controlled Tripoli. The Al-Qaeda flag is flying over the main Benghazi courthouse. And the Islamist militias themselves are infighting. There are 12 or so main Islamist parties that have sprung up, and they have rejected new rules for forthcoming elections because they favour certain tribes. And the tribes themselves are infighting. And so the post-Gaddafi honeymoon is over, and the country is heading to civil war.
And you're not surprised. You're also not surprised as we celebrate a year from the Cairo protest at House Hosni Mubarak that we are now looking at a parliament where the Islamist extremists have won the election. It does not surprise you. This wasn't a democratic movement. You knew it all along.
But democracy is all very well in practice, but as we know in the West, it can be manipulated. And if this democratic process was very messy and it took place very quickly, and ironically, the Islamists were the ones who were best poised to manipulate the process. I say ironically because in Egypt, for example, one of the parties called Al-Noor, a Salafi party, openly campaigned on the fact that they were only partaking in elections in order to abolish them subsequently and impose Sharia law. Now, what they did, everyone said a year ago, oh, the Islamists only have 25-30% of the vote, so we needn't worry. But what people forgot, and what I was very focused on from the beginning, is that 100% of the population never votes in any election, even in countries where it's compulsory. And so in Egypt, for example, and in Tunisia and Morocco too, where elections have also been held, only 40-50% of the population have voted, but the Islamists managed to get all of their supporters out. Right. So yes, they only have 25 to 30. There we are. They only have 25 to 30% of the support, but if only 40 to 50% vote, which is the case, which is precisely what happened, that means that they triumph. Right. So in countries like Morocco and Tunisia, they're now living with Islamist-dominated parliaments, despite the fact that 80% of the populations in both countries didn't actually vote for the Islamists.
So, John, 19% of Egyptians said they were in favor of a democracy. 75% support the Muslim Brotherhood. And today I read the New York Times and it says the Muslim Brotherhood, they're talking about free markets and it talks about subsidy reform. Is that just a play?
No, free markets isn't just a play. The Muslim Brotherhood are actually very pro-privatization because it's not at all communist, which is to say it's not at all atheist. And so the problem is that on the social level, yes, they're liars. Politicians lie all over the world. Read my lips, no new taxes. I mean, the Egyptian people ought to get used to the idea of campaign slogans and how they're betrayed subsequently. But their social agenda is very, very, very conservative. And remember, the Muslim Brotherhood are now the main party, but the second biggest party is a party called Al-Noor. They're radical Salafists, and these Salafists have been burning down churches and chanting anti-Semitic slogans. And so the Revolutionary Party, the main Revolutionary Party that was set up by the guys who are going to be going to Tahrir Square today, only managed to get 2% of the vote in the election. So that's a fair reflection, I think, of their total support in Egypt.
And in your book, John, you also talk about Tunisia, how we got totally the wrong message there. It was a lot better before than there was after. No one's happy about the revolution. And you also were kind of critical of how the Obama administration handled all the uprisings. It's a great book. It's an important book. And I have to say, you knew it ahead of time. John Bradley, author of After the Arab Spring, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, coming up straight ahead.